Welcome back to Stories by Attractor. Title: When Love Swept the Floors. Her hands were trembling. Not from fear, she had felt fear before, lived inside it, survived it. No, this was betrayal. A cold, hollow ache that spread from her chest down to her shaking fingertips. Emily stood before the long boardroom table, still dressed in her cleaning uniform, a uniform she had worn with quiet dignity for almost a year. Her hair was tied back, her face pale, but her posture remained steady. She would not crumble, not in front of these people. The board members whispered among themselves, voices sharp, eyes judgmental. On the other end of the table sat Alexander Hale, CEO. The man she had loved quietly, honestly. The man whose laughter had once softened her world. The man whose child she was now secretly carrying. And he said nothing. The secretary, Victoria, stood beside him. Beautiful, elegant, confident, her expression full of fake sympathy. Emily, Victoria said softly, the company has found evidence that you have been stealing funds. We have no choice but to let you go. Emily's heart tightened. She looked up, her eyes meeting Alexander's. Eyes that once looked at her with warmth now avoided hers. She whispered, voice trembling but proud. You believe this? He didn't answer. That was her answer. She walked out, slowly, silently, with the last pieces of her heart breaking inside her. No one knew she was pregnant. Months before. Emily Johnson was a single mother to a little girl named Lily, 4 years old, bright, talkative, with a smile that could melt the coldest heart. They lived in a small apartment with peeling paint and a leaking faucet. But they were happy. They had love. And love can make even hunger seem softer. Emily worked as the cleaner at Hale Corporation. Every morning she woke at 4:30 am, dressed quietly, kissed Lily's forehead, and walked to work while the streets were still asleep. She moved through the office unnoticed, invisible. She cleaned glass, polished floors, wiped desks, and listened to the world she was not part of. Alexander Hale was the kind of man who drew silence from a room simply by walking into it. Tall, controlled, with steel gray eyes and a voice that almost never rose. He wasn't cruel, but there was a distance about him, an emptiness like he was always listening for something he had lost long ago. Their words should never have crossed. But love doesn't care about words. One morning, Emily was mopping the east hallway when Alexander walked through, distracted by his tablet. The floor was wet. He stepped forward and slipped, but before he could fall, Emily lunged forward and steadied him, her hands on his arm, his chest, bodies close. For a moment, just a moment, the world stilled. Their eyes met. Alexander exhaled, half a smile appearing for the first time in what felt like years. You saved me, he said. Emily shook her head quickly. Just doing my job. But after that day, something changed. He started greeting her. Then asking questions. Then lingering. He noticed she ate only 1 meal a day and began leaving lunch for her by accident. He found out she had a daughter and bought a storybook for her. He saw how shy Emily was with attention because life had taught her to shrink herself. And slowly, he began to feel again. Emily was gentle. Not the softness that comes from an easy life, no. The softness that is formed after surviving storms. He admired her. He admired her strength. He admired the way she loved her daughter. He admired the way she kept hope alive. And Emily loved him because he listened. Because he saw her. Because he made her feel safe for the first time in years. Their love grew quietly. Private smiles. Late evening talks. Warmth shared in the shadows of an office building. Nobody knew. Except Victoria. Victoria, who had walked beside Alexander for years. Victoria, who believed she deserved him because she stayed loyal, educated, polished, and socially perfect. Victoria, who saw the softness in Alexander's eyes whenever Emily entered the room. Jealousy is not loud. It is quiet. Sharp. Patient. Victoria forged documents. Transferred money. Deleted logs. Framed Emily so perfectly that even Emily herself could not understand how she was being accused. And Alexander, confused, hurt, unsure, did the worst thing he could have done. He hesitated. And hesitation is all betrayal needs to survive. So Emily left without defending herself. She fainted 2 weeks later. The doctor smiled warmly. "Congratulations, you're pregnant." Emily cried, not because she regretted it, but because love had left her with a final gift when it walked away. She worked in a small diner afterward. Carrying plates, wiping tables, raising Lily through exhaustion and love. Her belly grew. Her strength remained. But she never stopped loving Alexander. Even when she tried. Truth has a heartbeat. It may be slow, but it always arrives. A routine audit revealed everything. Victoria's lies. The forged signatures. The stolen passwords. It all pointed to one person. And finally, Alexander understood. He had lost the woman who loved him because he did not fight for her. He searched for her for weeks. Every street. Every neighborhood. Every whisper of rumor. Until one evening, at sunset, he found her outside her apartment, hanging laundry, her belly heavy with the child they created. She froze. He froze. The air trembled between them. "Emily," his voice broke. "I am so sorry." She turned, tears filling her eyes, not from pain, but from how deeply she had loved him. "You didn't believe me," she whispered. Alexander stepped forward, then slowly sank to his knees, right there on the pavement. "I will spend the rest of my life making it right. If you'll let me." Her tears fell. And for the first time in months, she let herself breathe. He held her hand through childbirth. He kissed her forehead through every contraction. He cried when he held their son. They named him Ethan. He bought them a home, not because of guilt, but because he wanted them safe. He asked her to marry him, not with a ring, but with the words, "I choose you." Not the words' version of perfect. My version of home. And she said yes. Slowly. Carefully. Beautifully. Emily returned to Hale Corporation not as a cleaner, but as director of the Hope Foundation for Single Mothers, funded entirely by Alexander. Victoria left the company in disgrace, her arrogance collapsing quietly into nothing. And Emily. She no longer walked like a woman trying to disappear. She walked like a woman who survived everything meant to break her. Because she had. Love did not save her. She saved love. By believing in it even when it shattered. By holding it gently when it returned. And by letting it grow again, stronger, softer, real.